Hi everyone, as I mentioned, my name is Josia Molina. You can find me on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. We at the Minority Business Center of San Jose are operated by Asian Inc., our nonprofit partner in San Francisco. We also have a business consultant who operates out of that office and services many of our clients in San Francisco. Out of our business center in San Jose, we have 4 business clients. All of us have different expertise ranges, and we build a holistic team around all of our clients to help you with whatever services you may need, whatever information you may need to grow your business. We are funded by both a federal program and state programs to bring this service to you. That means that our services are completely free. We are here to provide as much information as resources to minority-owned small businesses. Though we are not exclusive, our services are available to all small businesses. Our intention is to create access to capital, create access to increased revenue streams, and really help resources come to the small businesses of Northern California. This is just a glimpse of what we have done for businesses in the past, and this includes all increases in revenue and finance opportunities for small businesses. And of course, small businesses can vary in size, so this is a reflection of our entire pot of clients. So this is a little bit about the services that we provide. The procurement assistance may not be applicable to everyone, but that is a source that we can create and for each business as they need. So if you are interested in going after government contracts or and a contract with a general contractor, we can figure out that system with you and prepare you to enter successfully. That means researching the appropriate certification and making sure that you have all of the appropriate documentation to take care of different opportunities, including access to capital. If you do need more operating capital to grow your business as you plan, we can figure out what the best options are with you, whether that is with a traditional bank, with a microloan financer, with other partners. One-on-one business consulting, we've touched on that a little bit, and you are all here today at one of our trainings and webinars. So thank you so much for joining us. So this is a little bit of the different certifications that we have provided for clients in the past. As I mentioned, we are able to support you in a variety of systems that you might want to join. So these certifications are applicable to some government agencies, others are applicable to others. So we kind of do that initial research with you to make sure that you are applying for the appropriate certification for the contracts that you want to access. And like I said, this is not applicable to everyone. It's just a general overview of what we can do for you. So this is a little bit more expansion of what I was mentioning before in the different areas. And as I mentioned, you know, we do help startup businesses as well as existing businesses. So I know that some of you may have just started your business, may have been thinking about starting a business, or may have been operating your business for years. And the kind of assistance that we can provide you will vary on case to case. So this is just a little bit of how we're helping our clients now deal with the crisis, the health crisis, and the shelter at home mandate across our state. So we are providing remote consulting. So we are setting up phone appointments. If you want to video conference, we are capable of doing that as well. And just making sure that you feel supported during this time. We are also hosting online webinars, including this one, and we are setting up more both around the COVID-19 impact and as well as general assistance. You know, we are helping with the loan packaging, so figuring out the application process, figuring out the right information to gather and things like that, as well as other technical assistance, right? A lot of our businesses are moving to remote and online, so helping with that transition as well. Connecting you with the right partners, with the right vendors to help you set up those systems if that is something that you want to explore, increasing your online marketing. So figuring out a plan for how to adjust to our new reality. So that's a very brief run through of all of our services. Here is my email for now, and I am going to also include that in the follow-up email to all attendees, because we are, Cassie, myself, and our colleagues in our respective offices are all available for consultation. So both of our informations will be shared with everyone, and we have a Q&A portion at the end. So if you do have questions for us, please hold them till then. In the meantime, I will stop sharing my screen, and I will go ahead and move on to Cassie so she can tell you a little bit about their center. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. This is May Sepon. Oops, we have a little bit of echo. This is May Sepon. I'm the director for the Sacramento MBDA Export Center. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We are part of a network of 34 minority business development agency centers located across the country. And as Rocio had already mentioned, we are funded by the Department of the Chamber of Commerce and from the U.S. Department of Commerce, and we are operated by the Cal Asian Chamber of Commerce here in Sacramento. And I just wanted to give a brief highlight of who we are as an export center. We provide support and services to minority-owned enterprises, and our primary focus is aimed at helping minority-owned enterprises succeed as exporters, with a specific focus on Asia-Pacific region. And we have several services that I could briefly just highlight for you here, and then I will pass it on to Cassie, my colleague, to speak specifically about the COVID-19 resources we have available. In general, our technical assistance is focused on helping minority business enterprises with export readiness, with assistance in documentation, and by providing introduction and identification of capital resources, as well as international contracts, markets, and networks. We also conduct international inbound and outbound business development opportunities for businesses that are interested in expanding globally. We also provide referrals to other businesses, both business to business, as well as clients to potential entities abroad. We have an array of resources that are available and aimed towards the response to COVID-19, and my colleague Cassie will provide more information on that.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. As May mentioned, my name is Cassie. I'm the project manager here at the MBDA Export Center, and I'd just like to share a few initiatives that we have started to help small businesses in their time of need. One being, we also are assisting small business with loan packaging assistance, specifically for the SBA Economic Disaster Injury Loan Program and the California iBank Small Business Disaster Relief Loan Guarantee Program. So we'd be happy to sit down with you, take you through the application process, the forms that you'll need to be fill out for the application, or we can send you the information so that you can look it over, do it yourself, and also will be made available for any questions. So we're here to support you in any way we can. We know it is personal information and it is your business, so please let us know if that's the type of service you'd like to receive from us, or if there's any assistance or support we can offer you at this time. Another resource that we have is our website page, the Business Triage Center. This is where you can find the most up-to-date news information and also small business information for you to keep up to date as far as what's going on a weekly basis. Another program that we are looking to start very soon is our virtual business matchmaking portal. This portal is meant for buyers to source medical supplies as well as suppliers to promote their products and showcase what they have so that we can match make the two so that you can continue to do your normal business processes and also helping the general public as far as access to these medical supplies. So we're really here to bridge the gap between those two. As we know, it's quite difficult right now due to social distancing and other issues that we're currently facing right now. And lastly, we are also partnering with Amazon Business. MBDA as a whole is doing this. So we are hosting a webinar on April 9th to talk about how you can set up a platform for yourself and your business on Amazon. This is a great way to start thinking outside the box if your business is typically brick and mortar. Now is a great time to start thinking of other ways that you can sell, e-commerce being one of the most popular and great way to reach a larger audience. So highly recommend attending that, more details to come. As well as I'd like to share some resources based on geographic region. Here we just have California, but there are a number of states also doing their own assistance programs and support. So our center would be happy to help you depending on what state you are currently located in to share the resources that we have found specific to your location so that you can have access to those as well. And lastly, we just have some more information that we have found to be relatable to small businesses in general, as well as technological tools to help you in your adjustment period as we are all social distancing at the moment. All this information will be made available after the webinar. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us via phone or email if there's anything that we can help you from our export center.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Cassie. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for bearing with us as we kind of skip any questions for now. And like I said, we will take questions towards the end for all panelists. But right now, we would love to move on to our first speaker today, who will be talking about disaster preparedness planning from the Office of California Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, which is called GoBiz. Isabella Casillas Guzman.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here with you all. Thanks for doing this work. I think the most critical thing is information gathering, and so appreciate all of you who are on the line and hope we can answer all your questions. I think that, number one thing to think about, we're in the midst of responding to a disaster, so to speak. And so I think, of course, I'm going to shift my conversation to those specific resources and bits of information directly. I think that preparedness is something that will now be on the minds more readily of small businesses. And so I look forward to continuing these conversations into the future and seeing how we can help you respond immediately now to the coronavirus issues, as well as prepare for future. GoBiz is working around the clock to ensure that businesses across California do have the resources and information that they need. We're working hard in terms of trying to ensure that the federal stimulus package is distributed throughout California. California was the first to request the SBA disaster assistance, which has now been expanded with some special benefits. And I know we'll be hearing from my colleague at the SBA, Julie. So one of the things I wanted to highlight mainly was really just around financial and tax relief. I think that we know that cash flow is king, and loans are something that you definitely will be exploring and looking at through the SBA programs, but we want to try to make sure that we give you as much available cash flow as possible. So Governor Newsom announced an executive order yesterday that the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration will be offering an automatic 90-day extension for all those tax filers who are filing a return for less than $1 million. And so this will definitely help small businesses in terms of preserving some of their cash flow on their sales tax, and that's mainly retail and restaurants who have been hard hit. Small businesses will now have until the end of July to file their tax returns for the CDTFA. And so that's that's an extra benefit. As you know, the Franchise Tax Board already aligned with the federal IRS program, extended the same deadline through July for state taxes. So hopefully those remedies provide some immediate relief. In addition, earlier last week, the governor also announced a financial relief package focused on 90-day mortgage payment relief. And as you know, he had previously done an executive order clearing up cities and counties to be able to put in eviction moratoriums for residential and allow as well as commercial if the counties could do so. So far, 8 counties and 5 cities have done so locally. So you need to make sure you check with your local county and cities to see what type of protection you have if you're renting in terms of evictions. But in addition, 4 of the 5 large banks, Citibank, JP Morgan Chase, U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, and additional 200 state-chartered institutions did agree to a 90-day mortgage payment relief. So on both fronts, we're trying to ensure that you get additional cash flow from that rent or mortgage payment that you're having to pay. I think that in addition to these financial relief and tax relief issues, as well as rent eviction moratorium, we're really trying to work hard to make sure that all the federal packages are available to California businesses and that they're taking advantage of them. And as described, California supports the network of federally contracted small business centers. It includes the centers of the SBA as well as the Department of Defense with the procurement centers, Department of Commerce with the MBDA centers, and Department of Transportation with specialized centers, et cetera. And so within that network, there are experts, as those on the line, that you can turn to navigate all of these resources because it's complex and they're available to you. So California funds that network to sort of be our boots on the ground as well in order for you to get that assistance. So we encourage you, to visit our websites, California, so you can track that information on a regular basis. All of the governor's announcements, and I see they're putting up some slides now for me. That's the contact information to track what we're doing on a regular basis. But in addition, in terms of the specific announcements that we're making, covid19.ca.gov, which is listed at the top there. That's our comprehensive California state website, which will include all of these executive order announcements, any protections or additional resources that will become available. Direct business assistance is available at business.ca.gov. And if you go to our site, click on coronavirus, it lists out resources that we have through our office directly, including some state lending programs, state guaranteed lending programs that include the iBank Small Business Finance Center and the as well as the Treasury CalCap program, and importantly, resources for you as employers, for you and your workers. And so that, there we go. If you go to labor.ca.gov or just visit our site, business.ca.gov, we direct and list out a lot of those specialized resources programs, the work sharing programs that you can go after to keep your business going in the sense of not having to rehire all of your employees and by using some of these labor and workforce resources. I think that one of the critical things that we want to make sure happens is that you do access these federal programs that are going to become available with specific guidance by SBA hopefully later in the week, but that we want businesses to take advantage of whatever forgivable or advanced with later forgiveness type programs available, because that's key for your business. So we want as many California businesses to navigate those as soon as possible and access those funds in addition to the state resources I outlined. I look forward to questions. I'll be on as well through the whole call, so thank you so much for joining.
Okay, great, Isabel. Thank you so much for that presentation. So now we can take questions. So any attendees, if you have a question, Feel free to text it into the chat window or raise your hands. I've seen a couple of questions come in so far. Let's see, give you a couple. So one question that we did get, Isabel, maybe you can highlight this, is will your assistance also apply to non-essential businesses?
Yes, I mean, in terms of operation, the stay-at-home order, which you can find a detailed listing of all of those essential critical infrastructure businesses and employees on the covid19.ca.gov website. But the resources are available to everybody, of course, yes.
Okay, great. And when will the Paycheck Protection Program be available to small businesses?
That is the SBA program that's being implemented, and that one, the guidance is supposed to be coming out any day, so I know Julie will be speaking to that later. It is a federal program.
Okay, great. All right, let's see here. So it seems like a lot of these questions are related to the loan specifically and who qualifies. So I think we can go ahead and move to SBA. So we will be now joined by Julie Klaus, District Director for the San Francisco office of the U.S. Small Business Administration, who is handling a lot of these finance programs right now during this crisis. So Julie.
Thank you. Hopefully my microphone is working. I'm going to try to share my screen real quickly. While I'm doing that, I just want to say thank you for providing this platform today so that we can get information out to everybody. I realize this is, an era where information is changing on a daily basis. And I know it's hard to kind of synthesize and keep up with what's going on. And the new legislation that was signed on Friday of last week did authorize some additional programs. And so we are working to try to prop up some of those programs as well. So I know I unfortunately won't be able to answer everybody's questions today, but I think as we move through the week, I will have more information and we will be pushing even additional information out to you. So today I want to tell you what I know and try to address as many of your questions as possible, and then also make sure you know which resources to connect with as you move through this week and as you look at all the different options that are coming up and making decisions for your business. I know this is there's a lot going on, and sometimes it's going to be a matter of trying to sort through and figure out which of these options is going to be most advantageous to you and provide you with the best benefit. And so like Rocio and Cassie and May and others have said, we've got a lot of resource partners out there to help you with this too. You don't have to go it alone. You've got the District Office of SBA and all of our resource partners like SCORE and the Women's Business Center and SBDC. So there'll be some information on that at the end as well. Right now, I kind of want to go through what is available right now and what we know is coming. I'm trying to kind of break down this information, so I'm trying to put it into some buckets here. So one bucket I want to talk about is what I'm going to call debt deferment or relief. So if you are someone who has had an existing disaster loan, let's say you were unfortunately affected by one of the wildfires in the last couple of years, or flooding or other things. If you have an existing SBA disaster loan, we have automatically deferred all your payments through the end of this calendar year. So that you don't have to do anything, that's already done for you. Likewise, if you have existing SBA loans, whether it's through our 7A program, our 504, or a microloan program, there's the ability for those lenders to defer your payments for a period of time as well. Typically 90 days, although there's some options up to 6 months. And if you would like to do that, I encourage you to please talk with your lender, whoever made the loan for you, because they're the ones that will initiate that process. And something that's new as a result of this CARES Act legislation is the SBA Debt Relief Program. And so this program is for any new 7A loans that are issued between now and September 27th, or any existing loans that you might have that are in the 7A family. SBA is paying, or its ability to pay interest, principal and interest on these loans for a period of up to 6 months. So there's some more information coming out about that. Again, it will be something you'll need to work with your lender in order to enact, and more details are coming forward about how you specifically will be able to do that. One other program I just wanted to quickly highlight that's available today is our Express Bridge Loan Program. So this is kind of stopgap funding, if you will, loans up to $25,000 provided by SBA Express lenders. And it's a very short process for them. They can quickly take in an application, it's streamlined, and be able to turn it around quickly in order to provide up to $25,000 in working capital to businesses. But the two programs you're probably most interested in are this Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. So I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about both of these. The Paycheck Protection Program is not yet available. We do expect it to be available later this week. And this is the program you may have been hearing a lot about in the media. It is a program that will be offered through SBA's lending partners. And for those of you in the Bay Area or in California, it's almost every bank you can think of is authorized to work with SBA. And as banks sign in and become interested in this program, that is information we will be providing to you. This program is a loan program, and it's for small businesses and nonprofits. And the goal of this program is to really help businesses keep their workers on payroll. So this could be workers that you have today that you are with your diminished revenue streams right now that you're struggling to pay but you want to retain. Or it could also apply to situations where maybe you've had to lay off or let go some workers, but you want to rehire them. So this loan, the details are still coming out. So I apologize today, I'm not really able to speak with a lot of depth of information, but by tomorrow and then hopefully even by Friday, people will be able to start getting a lot more details, and I'll be able to talk a little bit more in depth about it at that point in time. This is a loan program that will be available for a maximum of $10 million. The nice thing with this program is that it's targeting payroll plus associated expenses with payroll and certain other expenses like rent or mortgage payments. And what this will do is there will be a formula that I don't have all the details on yet of how you calculate what it is that your payroll and other expenses, qualifying expenses are, and they multiply that, and then we're able to provide lending assistance on that, again, up to $10 million. A portion of this loan will be forgivable if you're using it to cover payroll expenses. So can't give you the exact dollar amount just yet. It's going to vary obviously from business to business, but a portion or all of it may be forgivable depending on how you're using the proceeds of this loan. So again, I apologize, that's not a lot of detail, but more is coming on this, and we're working with our lending partners to get them up to speed as well, so that they can also be, they will be delivering this program, and they can also serve as a really good resource for you all. But I do want to pivot now to quickly kind of go through the program that does exist and that everybody can apply for the minute you get off of this webinar, if you'd like. So this is our Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. And this one, thank you to the governor's office in California. They were one of the first applications out the gate. So this has been available in California for a couple of weeks now. If you looked at the online portal last week and either got stuck in our technical difficulties, which I apologize for, I encourage you to go back in and look today. The application will look really different, and I have a couple screenshots to show you. It is much more streamlined. We have leveraged a lot of additional resources to to amplify our bandwidth, to help with the demand, and also to streamline it so that things can be processed much more quickly. So this product is basically something we offer through our Office of Disaster Assistance. this particular program is the one and only instance where SBA is actually going to directly lend money to business owners. It's for small businesses and nonprofits who have suffered some sort of economic injury as a result of COVID-19. So this loan program is a working capital loan up to $2 million. The term of the loan can be up to 30 years. And the interest rates right now are 3.75% fixed rate for small businesses and 2.75% fixed rate for nonprofits. There are no other fees associated with this program. There's no closing costs or anything. It's just the straight interest rate. And this loan can be used for any of your operating expenses, your ordinary operating expenses, your ordinary financial obligations that you normally could have paid for, but for the impact that COVID-19 is having on your business. This includes things like all your fixed expenses. It does include payroll as well, rent, mortgage payments, accounts payable, utilities. It can also include any extraordinary expenses you've incurred as a result of COVID-19. If your business is still open and operating, perhaps you've had to change how you've done business. Maybe you've had to purchase new equipment or implement new processes, and that cost you money that you ordinarily wouldn't have spent. So those kinds of things are also able to be handled through this working capital loan. So I'm going to go through, we talked a lot about the details. One question that comes up, and I think a question in the chat too about credit. Yes, we will look at your credit history, but that is part of the totality of the circumstances when they're evaluating this loan. So there's no single number that I'm aware of that you have to be above or below. It will preclude you. But I tell people, don't, the biggest tip I have for people is don't disqualify yourself for this program by not applying. It behooves you to apply. And so I tell people, don't you make that determination, let SBA. The terms are very generous right now. This is not, if you're used to doing lending in the traditional commercial space through banks, this is a different program. The underwriting criteria is more relaxed and the structure is more relaxed. There is the collateral requirements is another common question that comes up. If you're asking for $25,000 or less, there is no collateral requirement whatsoever. We won't even ask. But if you're looking for loans over $25,000, we will ask the business to pledge its available assets. But I want to caveat that by saying SBA is not going to decline this loan based on lack of collateral. We realize there's a lot of businesses, especially service businesses, that maybe all you have is your laptop and your office equipment. So that's fine. And the lack of collateral is not a negative in this particular program. So you have to be a small business or a nonprofit, eligible nonprofit. There have been questions that I've had about certain types of business, and I do have an eligibility slide. So any form of business is eligible. If you're a sole proprietor, all the way up through C corporation, doesn't matter. You're eligible. There are a couple of industries, however, that are ineligible, and some of them are listed on the screen. I always do have to caveat, because we are in California, that the business does have to be legal at the federal level. So the cannabis industry cannabis is still not legal at the federal level. So unfortunately, those businesses are not eligible for this program. But those businesses can certainly reach out to us, and we'll help try to connect you with the other resources from the state or maybe something more local that you can tap into for support. And so trying to go through this kind of quickly so you can answer your questions too. But the application process is 100% online. And like I said, it's a new and improved application process. So you are encouraged to leverage the online tool. There's the link. You can also, the quickest way to get to it is actually just to go to sba.gov, and there's this yellow banner at the top. That link will take you directly into this application. You see kind of a small screenshot of that application. With this new application, allows you to access two parts of this economic injury disaster loan program. So the piece that's new since Friday with the CARES Act is this EIDL advance. We can advance up to $10,000 in a very quick and streamlined manner to you. And so that's the purpose of that, is to help get to some working capital very quickly. And then you can also apply for additional assistance up to that $2 million cap. But this $10,000 is a way to get money out to you very quickly. And this $10,000 will be forgivable. So if you are an existing applicant for the EIDL loan, you applied last week perhaps, whether you did it through online or whether you did the paper forms and sent those in to us, you are encouraged to go back into this new online portal and apply specifically for this $10,000 advance loan. So you are not, it's not going to jeopardize your existing application, but the fastest way to get this $10,000 to you, if that's something you want, is to go into the online application and apply. If you're a new applicant, you can apply for both tranches of money through the same application. Again, if you're an existing applicant, that original application will still continue to be processed. But to get to the $10,000 advance, we do ask that you go back into this new application and fill it out. It's fairly quick and easy. I had some businesses go through it yesterday, actually, and they all reported that it was pretty straightforward, and they all were able to submit in 30 minutes or less. With this program too, we are also deferring payments, and right now we're deferring payments for 12 months. So you can get the money in, start using it right away, and not have to worry about making your first payment for a year. Just to show you the screenshots, when you go in, like I said, this is what the page will initially look like. If you're able to scroll down, you'll start seeing some questions. The first is just to verify you are a small business. And then the second box below is to verify that you are not in one of the prohibited industries. So you would just check all those boxes to say, no, I'm not a lender, I'm not a lobbyist, I'm not an illegal business. And then when you hit continue, it will go into the guts of the application. And you can see from the top, there's just kind of this nice little workflow. You're just going to answer all the questions online. And at the end, you'll hit the submit, and you should automatically get a note back, an email back that says, congratulations, you submitted, and where you are in the queue and any of the next steps. So you should get immediate confirmation. So I know that was a lot of information really quickly, and there's still more to come this week. So I just want to make sure you're connected with us. There's 2 sets of slides with some resources. Again, this will be emailed out to you, so you don't have to be writing furiously right now. But our SBA district office is open for business, although not physically in the office. All of the team and my team is available by phone and email, as we all practice good shelter in place and social distancing practices as well. Our SFO mail at sba.gov email address is probably one of the fastest ways to reach us. That's our general email box. We also have a San Francisco district office newsletter, as do most of the fellow district offices around the country. So if you're based elsewhere in California or in another state and want to tap into your local office, you can sign up on their local district office website, just as you can for ours. And this is great because we'll push the information to you. As soon as we have information, we're blasting it out, so you don't have to go digging for it. There's also our main website, sba.gov/coronavirus, to get the updated program information, or you can also follow us on Twitter. And then here's a lot of the links to different parts of the website, the loan application I just talked about. And here's the customer service line, and this is for the disaster loans, the economic injury disaster loans. We realized there's huge volume of inquiries last week, and will continue to be. We have leveraged a lot of our resources. We have now increased the bandwidth on the customer service line by, I think, over 100-fold. I don't even know what the exact number is, but we will by tomorrow have over 7,000 customer service agents available to answer questions. So it'll be, we're hoping that the wait times are limited, so you can get to a real person much faster if you need to for the economic injury disaster loan program. They also have language line accommodations. So if English is not your first language and you need to speak to someone in another language, we have that capability through this customer service line as well. And then there's some more district office information. But I know I've seen the pop-ups come, so I know there's lots of questions. So I'll stop sharing, but we can have the conversation about the questions.
Okay, so I've been taking notes on some of the questions that everyone has been submitting. So I will ask you some of them. I know that some people have been raising their hand. So just so that you all know, when you raise your hand, for some reason it disappears right away. So I haven't been able to allow you to speak. I think it'll work better if you type your questions for all of us to see, or type your question into the Q&A box than raising your hand. With so many people on, it's been a little bit difficult to catch. So Julie, one of the questions that we've gotten a lot is, what are the terms? So this is not one that was included in the typing, but what are the terms that you want to be covered, right? So if I'm a business and I want to pay my employees for what, 6 months, a year, what are you recommending for these applications?
Right, I think it'll be slightly different in each program, but I know for the economic injury disaster program, it's taking a look at what your financial needs are on like a monthly basis and basically multiplying by 6. Yeah, looking out 6 months. And that's kind of the amount. That's a really rough mathematical way to look at the amount that eligible for. One caveat I will note too with the economic injury disaster loan program, the base program is available until December. So because we are in such a fluid situation, we don't really know when there'll be an end date, so to speak, for when the COVID-19 situation will change for all of us. So this is a best guess, right? This is everyone's best guess right now. So if you end up and we end up and we've guessed wrong, and a couple months from now you realize you need more working capital, you can always come back to SBA and ask to amend your application and to get additional funds up to that 2 million cap, assuming you're not going for 2 million right out the gate. So
okay, I think you answered this one already. If you're not a non-essential business, obviously you're under the shelter in place order and you do qualify.
Absolutely.
And let's see, there have been a lot of questions about who's an approved lender, an SBA approved lender. I know you mentioned that there are a variety of lenders out there. A lot of major banks are lenders. I know that our center works with a couple of lenders in specific because we know that they're going to handle clients, and let us know if they run into any issues. Cassie, I'm assuming you also have similar relationships to lenders in your service area. Julie, I know that you mentioned your office is going to be connecting people to the right lenders. Isabel, I'm sure you're going to be fielding some of these calls. So we all kind of have a list of people to connect you with if you don't feel comfortable with whatever list you find online.
Yeah, and we on our district website, we also have a resource guide. That was that last link. That is just as an FYI, there's a list of all the lenders who participated in our program last year. So that's also a way to just double check if your current lender is also an SBA approved lender.
Perfect. Okay, and I received a couple of questions about people who are maybe on a 1099, consultants, freelancers. I know someone asked about a salon where they contract the booths out. Can these other businesses also apply?
Yes, I'm asking them to let's talk on a one-on-one basis to look at their specific situation, and they can work with the district office or any of the resource partners to see exactly how they're structured, how what kind of how they file on their taxes will help us figure out which bucket they should apply for or other programs that they might want to look at.
Okay, perfect. We also got a question about people who may not already be certified as an SBA small business. Will there be assistance going through that process to get, or is that a prerequisite for qualifying?
Nope, there actually is no certification from SBA as a small business. You just have to meet the small business size standards. And without even talking to most of you one-on-one, I can probably categorically say you qualify. Most businesses in the US qualify as small. We do have industry-based size standards based on average revenue or number of employees, depending on your industry. Most revenue-based size standards go anywhere from average, 3-year average annual sales of either 8 million up to 35 million in some industry categories. And for number of employees, often it's 500 and 1,000 or more in some categories. So that's one thing most people aren't even going to have to worry about.
Great, great. And what about businesses that maybe were just getting started? I know we got a question from someone who just incorporated back in August. And there's another question that just came in from a tech person who is not getting revenue yet. What about these businesses?
Right, so you do need to be an established business, but you don't necessarily have to have been in business for any specific length of time. You just need to have been established before, I believe, for economic injury disaster loans. It's prior to the disaster declaration, which was back end of January, I believe, and similar date, for the PPP program. So if you just establish your business yesterday, probably not going to qualify. But if you did establish in January or any time prior to that, you should qualify. And you do need to show for the economic injury that you've had some sort of economic loss. So it doesn't mean you have to have had a profit and you're no longer making a profit, but you do have to have had expenses and other things and some sort of revenue flow at some point in time to show that you've now don't have that revenue, or it's been diminished and now you have this financial need that you can't cover. So I don't know, we can talk one-on-one with really specific questions too, to get so your specific situation can be addressed.
Perfect, perfect. And so we've gotten a lot of questions about, how the forgivable aspect of everything works. So I know you mentioned that the PPP program is forgivable, as well as the 10K advance on the EIDL loan. And I think you also mentioned that the payroll portion of the EIDL loan, a small portion of that might also be forgivable. I think there was some questions about how that would work. Is there a separate application for that? I think people still have a lot of questions about that forgivable term.
Right. And I'm hoping once we have some more information, the more detailed information on the PPP program, we'll be able to kind of lay this out in some sort of grid or something to help make it a little more digestible. But the economic injury disaster loan program, in that program, with the $10,000 advance, the $10,000 advance is the portion that's forgivable. So if you're going to get the apply for the $10,000 advance, plus you want another, 100,000 or whatever to cover all your expenses, that's okay, but only the 10,000 will be the forgivable portion. The PPP program is the use of the program in order to have it forgivable, at least, is going to be a little bit more narrowly focused just on payroll and those associated expenses. So I know some people have asked, can I apply for both? How do I decide which one to apply for? And as soon as we have a little bit more detail on the PPP program, SBA and our advisors can sit down with you and kind of run through numbers, look at your unique financial situation, what your needs are. Some businesses are going to be payroll heavy because they have a lot of employees and they want to retain all those employees. So that may be their greatest financial need. With other businesses, they may not have as many employees, but they may have a lot of other expenses. And so maybe the economic injury disaster loan program is going to be more advantageous for them. There is a concept inside our disaster program called duplication of benefits. So that is one thing that will continue through. We want to make sure businesses aren't duplicating their benefits. So if you have just payroll needs and you go through the PPP program, you probably will not be able to get an economic injury disaster loan for the exact same financial needs, those payroll expenses. So again, it's going to be a matter of looking at each business's financial situation and what their actual needs are, and then figuring out which program or a combination thereof will be most advantageous to them.
Okay, great. So I know that was all the questions that I tried to catch in the chat box. We have a few more questions in the Q&A portion, and I know that Cassie had some questions that she got via email. So let's transition over to her while I kind of review these Q&A stuff. Cassie.
Hi, Julie. I just received a couple questions from some attendees beforehand. One being, can SBA subsidize salaries and or benefits of U.S. citizen staff of foreign registered small businesses as well?
You do need to be a US-based business. And so again, I would have that particular inquirer to contact us directly so we can talk through their specific situation. And if our programs are not the fit, we're trying to help with find other programs either through the state with Isabel and her team and their programs, or something more local if that fits.
Gotcha. And one more question, general question. What will be the extent of unemployment benefits if companies have to lay off some of their employees temporarily? Is this to the SBA and support on that?
Yeah, the unemployment, I mean, I don't know, Isabel, are you able to speak to more on the unemployment benefits or programs, I should say, that are?
Yeah, I can. What was the specific question?
So the question was, what will be the extent of unemployment benefits if companies have to lay off some of their employees temporarily?
Well, if they're going to be laying off their employees temporarily, and so you don't want to go through the expense later of having to find, rehire, retrain employees, then I would direct you to the work sharing program. I put in the feed of the chat the link in case we didn't get to this question, so you can go to the EDD's website as well. I will say that the Small Business Development Centers and the Women's Business Centers can also help you navigating the HR issues as well. They're very familiar with the EDD programs and can help on that front. But regardless, if you'd like to do some research on your own, in addition, there are these programs for work share. And so basically it's if you want to reduce your production or services, and it's an alternative to layoffs. And so that your employees can receive the unemployment insurance benefits, keep their job, avoid some of those financial hardships, and then you don't have to lay off and lose those trained employees. And so I would encourage you all to apply to that program. Some of the requirements and restrictions are listed, and there's an actual application that you can walk through with the assistance of a Small Business Development Center, as well. So there are also, support, support through EDD. I know that they're inundated right now just on the unemployment insurance side in general, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to reach them. But they do have America's Job Center of California, so you can contact your local America's Job Center of California for that additional support as well. So again, it's you could just go to labor, but I sent the exact link for EDD website so that you can take that down.
Great, so all the links that Isabel has provided in the chat, we'll be sure to take note of those and make sure that we make a list of those resources as well in our follow-up following the webinar.
Okay, great. So let's see, there were a couple more Q&As that came in. We'll answer a few more questions. But I think then we'll move on to our closing remarks and let you all go and start your applications or start reaching out to us. Let's see, what are these questions here? So we had a couple questions, Julie, about how to take a look at your application once it's been submitted. I know that you walked us through the website a little bit, so I think people just needed a little clarity on if they could check the status of their application.
Yes, so if the question is about status of an application that's already been submitted prior to Monday, the best way is to call that customer service line, because unfortunately my team and I don't have access to that particular system to check personally. So contacting the disaster team through the customer service line is the best way to check it. Also, you should be receiving an email this week if you have not already, if you've already applied, and that'll tell you, it won't necessarily tell you the status of in the queue, but you'll know your application's being worked on, and it's going to give you information about the $10,000 advance and how you can move forward with that. If you are now applying under this new application, you'll get notification when you submit, and you know it's submitted and it's in the queue for processing. Right now, there isn't a dashboard or any other tool on there that will help you see like where exactly you are in that process, but I do believe they're working on that. So within a day or two, there might also be a dashboard that you can see your personal, where you are personally in the process. But the intent with this $10,000 advance is that it should be able to be given to you, dispersed to you very quickly within a matter of days. So hopefully that's going to help give a little bit of cushion immediately while the larger loans are being processed.
Okay, great. And I think one more question that a lot of people have submitted is, should people be applying to both the EIDL program now, and can they apply to the PPP program later? And is there a cap to the PPP program?
Is there a cap? Yes, PPP is limited to $10 million. And the Economic Injury Disaster Program is limited to $2 million. Right now, I mean, if you, we'll know a little bit more on the specifics of this later this week, but it kind of ties into that duplication of benefits issue that I talked about earlier. So in theory, yes, you can apply for both, but I do know if it's for the exact same, financial needs, that will have to be something that's worked out between the two programs. Right now, because the EIDL loan is available and the application is up and running, you can go in and apply. I tell people that if it turns out later this week that when you run your numbers and you think the PPP program is going to be more advantageous to you, you can always decline the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So you're not locked into taking that money if you decide, in a couple of days from now when we have more info on PPP, that might be the better option for you. So if you want to apply for EIDL and get in the queue, you can do that today.
Okay, great. So I know that we have one person here who has had their hand raised this whole time, even though I said we aren't going to be taking hand raises. So I have to acknowledge their efforts and give them a couple minutes to talk. Let's see what they have to say. Oh, they lowered their hands. Must have realized. Okay. All right, so then we'll take it over now. Cassie.
Thank you, Rocio. And thank you everyone for submitting questions. We know that you all have your own concerns in relation to your business and your industry. So my director, May, has actually entered into the chat a phone number, which is our hotline, where we are assisting in the loan packaging of the EIDL program. So if you do have specific questions in regards to the loan application process, as well as the forms that you're going to need, if you need immediate assistance, please reach out to the number. Also, if you'd like dedicated assistance, we will be sending out all of our contact information so that you can have that available and have someone in person ready to assist you. So don't worry, all this information will be provided following the webinar, the recording, as well as the list of resources. So just know that we all are here for you and your business, and will be available to answer questions separately. I would just like to give a huge thank you to Julie and Isabel for taking the time to speak. Maybe it's on your holiday today. But thank you so much for being here and being available for small business and being a resource for everyone here from a federal level and statewide level. Thank you so much. And lastly, thank you, Rocio, for emceeing and partnering with us, the Export Center. We're really excited to continue doing more webinars, providing more resources to our small business community. So please keep on a lookout, everyone, for more collaborations between our centers, as well as webinars and email resources as well. Lastly, thank you so much, everybody. Please keep on a lookout in your email inbox for our list of resources, as well as the recording of the webinar. We look forward to meeting you individually and hearing from you soon. So thank you so much, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, wash your hands. You know, let's all do this together. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.